Hello, I'm Connie Arkus with the Schaumburg Park District. Today we're at the Spring Valley Nature Center enjoying the annual Solstice Hop and Vine Fest, which is a fundraiser for the Schaumburg Park Foundation. This is the fest's 4th year, and once again it's sold out. And no wonder, who doesn't want to spend a glorious Saturday evening outdoors in the beautiful Nature Center with great music in the background while sampling wine, beer, and some terrific food. So come on with me and our cameraman Jay, and let's check out what's going on. We had a little bit of a rain delay, but this woman has been so wonderful and welcoming to everybody who's coming here. You're expecting a rainbow, right?
I am, any minute
and a lovely sunset.
Oh, definitely a lovely sunset. These people are the ones that made it stop raining. So
all right,
we're gonna
thank
make
you. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm in line to get my commemorative wine glass. Hi, thank you everybody for volunteering. Terrific. There's my ticket. So I am official. All right, thank you. I will. I'm looking forward to it. Excuse me. Welcome to the Solstice event.
Thank you.
Have you been here before?
Yes.
Every year.
Every year, really?
Since the beginning.
This is our 4th year, right?
Great.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And why? Why do you come?
Because it's a very nice evening. It's a great event.
Good.
You get to taste the wine, have some nice little food with it, and it's very enjoyable.
And a great way to kick off the summer.
It is.
Although today you wouldn't think it was summer.
A little stormy beginning. Now, I have to wait till later to try the wine. What do you think of the wine so far?
I've just tried
haven't tried
Cooper's
yet.
Hawk. Cooper's
Oh,
Hawk,
all right.
which we know and like. So
Okay.
Yes.
we
We
are
went with the
looking.
sure thing to begin with.
Yes. So we're looking forward to trying some new wines.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Oh, where are you from?
Schaumburg?
Oh, good.
Where
okay,
else?
so you are local.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Yes.
keep coming back.
England.
Yes.
I wondered, are you visiting?
Originally,
No, I live
She
here
lives
now.
here.
But no, I live here now. But yeah, we don't drink a lot of wine in England. We drink a lot more wine in America. So this is good.
And you're enjoying it. Good. Great.
All
Thank
right.
you, ladies. Have
yeah,
fun.
let's hope the rain stays off.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Have you been here before?
No, this is my first time.
What do you think so far?
It's great. It's a little muddy, but great.
Good. Well, yes, at least it did stop raining. Are you from the Schaumburg area?
I am. We live right across the street from the Spring Valley Nature Center, so we were able to walk over.
Good. Okay, family and friends?
Neighbors.
Neighbors.
Jenna?
Oh, come on.
Jenna.
Hi, Jenna.
Jenna was here last year.
Yes, we loved
And
it.
you came back.
We did before it sold out.
I know, isn't it
That was very
exciting?
important, yes.
I know, Pat from the Park District said, you got to get those tickets early, and she's not kidding.
Oh, yes. No, she wasn't kidding. I had a friend who wanted to sign up last week, and they were sold out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it did turn out to be a nice night.
It did.
And I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
We're having fun.
We are enjoying it,
And
yes.
both of our neighbors. So both neighbors on both sides.
I was a very good spokesperson for this, yes.
All right, great. Thank
Thank
you.
Hi, I'm Pete Justin from
Okay.
Schaumburg.
Okay.
Joyce.
Joyce.
Glenn Shergott from Schaumburg.
Terrific. Great. Hey, it turned out to be a great evening, huh?
Yeah, and
we're
we're
very-
both help sponsor this.
Thank you. What a terrific
Both
event.
on the Schaumburg Park Foundation.
Good.
And this is one of our biggest events. And it's a fun event for everyone. Had to get people in a good mood when they were waiting in the rain to take the bus here. So
and
I
he was a
said,
volunteer. I mean,
so I said
boy.
there's a lot of slipping and sliding going on out there, and you're going to have a great time with a few wines, and you're really going to enjoy yourself. So everybody calmed down and was excited to get over here.
Well, good. I think you brought them all. I think so.
Yes.
Good turnout.
Yes.
Are you having a good time, Joyce?
Yeah, really.
Finally,
all through the mud.
We were all
Great
over
time.
we were at Conant waiting, and she was here waiting.
Yeah.
So we weren't waiting to come back. We were waiting to get people on the bus. And
Yeah, we wanted to make sure it was safe.
Yes.
That's right.
All right. Well,
Well,
have
nice
a
being
great
here. Right.
evening.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hello, we are here with Bob Schmidt, and he is the chair of the Schaumburg Park Foundation. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did, the foundation. We have approximately 17 trustees, and each year we raise funds through the Summer Solstice and Lynx Cup coming up in August. We're doing funding the Canine Park that will be opening up this fall.
Oh.
And we've, the innovation, some of the grants we've had with the displays inside the Nature Center. We've done that. And then one of the things we really have increased is our funding for needy families that, if they can't afford a program or something, we fund them. They fill out an application, and we're able to do that. I think we're like 12, 15,000 each year. We do
That's
that.
terrific. So that's part of this whole Solstice event.
Yes, that's part of it too.
Okay, now what made you want to volunteer?
Well, I was active in the Schaumburg Athletic Association, and it was just a natural progression to become involved with the Park District. I'm one of the commissioners, and then I was on the foundation, and it's a great opportunity to serve, to give back to the community, and I mean the community's given so much to my family that we just, I feel I have to give back.
Well, great. And this Solstice event is terrific. I mean, what a great location.
Oh, it's fantastic here. The rain, we almost canceled it with the rain, but fortunately it held off, it stopped, and people still came, and everyone's having a good time. There's good food, wine, beer.
Quite a few vendors. I mean, it really is surprising.
I think we have approximately 15, 16 vendors. So it's a combination of food and, beer and wine.
A lot of choices.
A lot of choices, and very good food too, from the local restaurants, local breweries.
Well, we've been talking to quite a few people, and they seem to be very pleased. So I think you can be proud of this event.
Oh, I'm very proud of it. This is our fourth one, and, we look forward to many more. And nicer weather next time too.
Thank you very much,
Oh,
Bob.
you're welcome. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye now.
Bye. Welcome to the Solstice. Have you been here before?
Yes.
Oh, you haven't?
We have not. We're new. We're new.
This is our second year. This is our first
Great.
year.
What do you think?
It's wet.
I need more.
Okay. All right. Well, what have you've had so far? Is it pretty
we
good?
had something
We had
from
oh my goodness,
Hartley?
what winery? Haley's Winery. Yes,
Great.
a little bubbly. So it was a
All right.
good way to start the event.
Excellent. How about you two?
Linford.
Linford.
Linfred. Okay. And you're going to go back for a few more samples?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. So what brought you back this year?
The fun and seeing the flowers and just
Nice.
enjoying the park.
Summer evening.
Summer evening, welcoming in the summer solstice.
Okay. and you too?
Great way to see old friends, have a great glass of wine.
Good, well great. Glad you're here and thanks for trying it this first time and I hope you're back too.
I'm sure we will.
Cheers!
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 Excellent. We're so glad to be here.
Now, is this your first time or?
We came last year. It's his first
My
time.
first time.
What do you think?
I think it's excellent. I'm glad it stopped raining and we're looking forward to enjoying a couple glasses of wine and tasting all the varieties and everything they have to offer.
Good. And then what made you want to come back?
Oh, and we had such a lovely time last year. And the music, the people are just friendly. And of course, I'm a little bit of a wine lover.
Oh,
so.
I like it. Yes, we'll work for shoes and wine. All right. And then this is your second time too.
My
right?
second time too. It was great last year. Really good this year too.
Good. And your name is?
Miriam.
Hi, Miriam.
I'm Margaret.
Margaret.
And I'm Walter.
Walter, great.
We're so
We're
happy
glad
to be
you're here. Yeah, and the environment too, isn't it nice?
It's
Communing with
outstanding.
nature.
Oh, exactly. And to support the Park District, nothing gets better than that. I mean, to come out and have a great time and support such a beautiful environment. So.
Well, thank you, and I don't want to hold you up anymore. More wine.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us this evening at the Schaumburg Park Foundation's Solstice Hop and Vine Fest. Plan now to attend next year's event. You don't want to miss it. The fest is a great way to welcome the summer with your friends. I'm Connie Arkus.
Hello, I'm Dan McNulty. Welcome to another segment of Schaumburg Heartbeat. This time we're going to be talking about living with animals inside and outside our home. And we're lucky to have probably the best authority in Schaumburg on that, Deborah Diamond. Deborah Diamond is the animal control officer for the Schaumburg Police Department. And Deborah, I know you've been doing this for quite a while. You're a busy lady. Give us an idea what your job entails.
My job is to enforce the village ordinances that we have set in place, and the ordinances are to protect the animals. So I make sure that the leash law is enforced. We have barking dog issues. Anything to do with animals, that's my job. I pick up a lot of stray animals. I deal with some wildlife, not a lot of wildlife. But anything that I can do to enforce the ordinances of the village and also the state of Illinois, Cook County, I handle pretty much everything. The only thing that I don't handle is skunks.
Skunks, okay. Then, now talking about wild animals, people think like we talked about coyotes. Are coyotes a problem here in Schaumburg?
They're not a problem in Schaumburg. We have them, just as every other community has them. But we, just like all the other wildlife, we can live with the wildlife. We just have to respect them, respect their nature, try not to get involved with feeding them or altering their way of life, keeping our distance. But for the most part, they are more afraid of us than we are of them. So we can live with them, and we do every day. They're here. We know they're here. You may not see them. Most people know that they're nocturnal animals, so they usually are out at nighttime. But because they have become really accustomed to being in the suburbs, and even downtown Chicago has them, you will see them during the day. You will see them out in a field probably sunning themselves. You may see them out with their pups. Right now it's baby season, so they're out with their pups. But just like any other wildlife, you don't want to try to approach them. If we respect them, they're going to respect us. If you've got a small dog, don't leave it unattended after dark. Make sure you're out there, especially if you know if there's coyote in the area. You need to take precautions. Check the yard before you let the dog out, and if you need to be out there with the dog to let him do its thing, then do that and bring him back in. But you don't, the animals that become Victims of the coyotes are the ones that are left unattended, the ones that are off the leash, the ones that nobody's paying attention to. Those are the ones that become victims. We have had a few over the years that have become victim to coyote, but those are ones, again, that fall into that category of, you know, they're not being watched, they're off a leash, and things like that.
Common sense for an owner to make sure that their animals don't go out by themselves.
It's all common sense.
Just mentioning skunks now, what are the problems now? You don't deal with them, so if people have skunks, what do they do?
If you have skunks on your property, the village gives you the opportunity to call a wildlife relocation service. We have plenty of them listed on the website under the animal control page, so you can go there. There's several listed. There's also the yellow book, phone book that you can go to. But if you have any type of wildlife, not just skunks, but raccoons or whatever living on your property outside your home, we don't get involved with removal of that. The state of Illinois has very strict laws on wildlife, so we kind of pretty much have distanced ourselves, and unless it's in a living space of your home, we don't come out. Skunks, you know, everybody knows skunks. Everybody knows that they're an issue. We were hoping with this past winter that we had that the population would diminish a little bit. It hasn't. Skunks don't have a natural predator. The only natural predator is an owl. Don't have very many of those in Schaumburg, so they tend to multiply and sustain themselves, and they're out and about, and usually the only thing that takes them out is getting hit by a car, and we see that in the roadways. But you know, again, to keep those animals off the property is being proactive on your property. Make sure you're not leaving food out for anything. Don't feed animals, don't feed stray cats. Put your garbage out the morning of garbage day. Don't leave any cans outside the house. Another thing is keep your barbecue grills clean, because you'll get animals that will smell that food, and that will attract them to your yard. You know, check your property for holes. If there's something dug out, fill it in, and just be proactive, and you should be able to keep the wildlife off your property if you do that.
That's really good advice. I want to mention that we're outside of the Pet Hotel.
Yeah, this is Golf Rose's new Pet Lodge.
Pet Lodge, and now you work with humane groups for adoptions and stuff like that. And tell us a little bit about this, what part this plays in that.
Well, whenever I get a call for a stray animal, pick up a stray dog or a stray cat, I'll pick them up, and first of all, we'll try to find an owner. That's the first thing we do. We scan them for a microchip, check them for tags, whatever. If we don't have anything, we double check our log. We keep a log at the front desk for all lost and found animals. If there's no matches there, then I transport them here to the lodge. When they're closed, we transport them next door to the hospital. Here they are impounded. The staff here does an awesome job of trying to find the owners too. They do whatever they can. They have their own log and they have resources. If the animal is not claimed after 7 days, then we turn it over to a humane society, cats and dogs. We hold them here for 7 days. So they're held here for 7 days. If they're not claimed after that, then we send them to a humane society. And then they end up in foster homes and adoption shows and things like that. So we have a great working relationship with them. They do a great job here, and this is a brand new, beautiful facility that was a long time coming, and it's wonderful. If you've got pets that you want to board for vacation, this is the place to go. The staff is very good. They take care of everything. It's very clean. So this would be the place. But this is where all of our strays will come, and they will stay here until the 7 days is up. If they're claimed here. If they're not, after 7 days, the organizations come here, pick up the animals, and then they take them to the foster homes.
The thing I want to mention that we talked about before is having your own animal. The village now or the Village Park District is going to have a dog park.
Correct.
Where is that?
The dog park is going to be located at Remington Road and Wilkening, which is just northeast of here. It's the old Copley Park Center. They are still continually working on it now. It's going to be beautiful. They're going to have it for a large dog area, a small dog area. They have a pond where the dogs can swim. It's a long time coming because all these years that I've worked for the village, a lot of people, you'll catch somebody with a dog off a leash and they want to know where the nearest dog park is. And I had to refer them to other agencies. So now I can refer them to Schaumburg, and they can come up here. They can become a member of the park district, get a pass to get in the dog park. If anything happens at the dog park, they're close to the animal hospital, so that's a good thing. But it's a long time coming, and I think a lot of residents are going to take advantage of it. It's going to be nice.
I want to talk about your experience. You've been doing this for quite a while. Tell us how has your job changed over the years, if it has?
I don't know if it's really changed. It, you know, it's definitely keeps you busy.
Right.
You know, there's a variety of calls.
Right.
Sundays are more busy than others. I think with the downfall in the economy that we had a few years back, we were picking up more stray animals because a lot of people were getting, you know, evicted or whatever, and they would let the animals go. We would end up picking them up. That's kind of fallen off a little bit now. But as far as the job changing, it's just more technology. You know, we've got the scanners now. We didn't have them years ago. We have the scanners. I got computers in the car. I can get a hold of, I can look up rabies tags. So I think the technology has helped us. The microchipping of dogs and cats now is wonderful because we tend to find more that have microchips, so we can return it to the owners instead of impounding them. But other than that, I think the calls are pretty much the same. Everything's kind of keeps me busy and kind of like it that way.
Right. What advice do you give to pet owners? You know, what they should do and shouldn't do in relation to the pets they have and also the wildlife living around?
Well, obviously you want to keep them vaccinated.
Yeah.
Number one thing. You want to keep identification on them. Keep a collar with tags. Get a microchip. Microchip is the best thing because it doesn't fall off a dog. You get a dog with a collar with the tags, when they start running, they may lose it, they may lose the collar. The microchip is permanently in the shoulder area. We carry scanners. The animal hospital has 3 different types of scanners. That will ensure that your animal is going to make it back home to you.
Same with cats.
Same with cats too.
Okay.
We have some strict ordinances. You know, your dog can't leave your property unless it's on a leash. Same with your cat. People think they have outdoor cats where they can let roam the neighborhood and oh, he comes back. We don't have an ordinance for outdoor cats. Your cat can be on your property, but once it leaves, you're in violation. So that being said, we have the coyotes out there.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and the coyotes, the cat is a perfect meal for the coyote, and they don't know it's a pet. They don't know the difference. So you need to keep them, you know, make sure you keep an eye on them.
Okay.
Keep them leashed. Keep them vaccinated. Definitely keep them vaccinated because there are, you know, skunks and bats we have out here that carry rabies. So if your dog's not vaccinated and comes in contact with one of those animals, it's not going to be a good thing. But just, you know, those simple things will keep your pet safe, keep them up to date on shots and regular visits to the doctor probably. Kind of like you and I, you know, we've got to do that too to keep ourselves healthy. So we want to do that. The ordinances are in place to protect the animals, so we're very proactive in that. We want to make sure that the residents know, you know, we're doing this for the animals. We don't want to see your dog off the leash, run into the street, get hit by a car. So that's, you know, pretty much.
Well, I want to thank, as I said in the beginning, I thought that was easy because you know your subject and you're very articulate, and I appreciate it. And it's
been doing this a long time, so it's pretty easy. So.
It's something I've learned a little bit more from pet owner. I'm sure, you know, many residents here are. And just remember, you know, good advice from Deborah about keeping your pets and what you should do to take care of them. And Deborah, thank you again. I appreciate it. And this has been another segment of Schaumburg Heartbeat. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm Burke MacDonald with Schaumburg Heartbeat. We're in Schaumburg today, and believe it or not, we have a cartoonist. Did you know that we have I think you're pretty famous, and I think the people that use him think he's pretty famous. It's Mark Anderson. He's with Andertoons, isn't it?
Yes, Andertoons.com.
Andertoons.com, and we're going to see what it's like to be a cartoonist. And I heard, and I see right above us, we're not going to shoot that, but you were a trombone player. Now, how do you go from going to college and getting a music degree and becoming a cartoonist?
It's a weird path to being a cartoonist. I went to college for music. I went to be a music major, and I got my degree. And then I left college and I became a salesman for a screw manufacturer in Elk Grove. And then I did some other stuff, but since I was a kid, I've always liked to draw. I loved tracing Peanuts comics when I was a kid. I drew all through college. I drew in my college paper. But it was one of those things
now,
that
did your teachers buy into you sitting drawing things?
Most of them, no. But my art teacher in high school was actually very good. It was my freshman year, and I was in art class. And he was like, okay, everybody draw something. We're going to draw this. And I drew some cartoon. It was like I forget what it was, but it was very cartoony.
Right.
And he said, and he came by and he goes, he gave me some little advice, and he goes, after class, he's like, head down to the paper there and tell him you're the new cartoonist.
Oh, that was a great. And then did you do that?
I did. I was nervous. I was terrified, but I'm like 14. I'm your new cartoonist. And okay. And that was it. And then from there on, they're like, okay, we need one cartoon a week, and you can do this, and we need a cartoon about that. And it was just sort of like being thrown into it. And I had to learn how to write, and I had to learn how to shade and ink and all the stuff that goes with it. But it was a great education.
Oh, that would be.
But
and
so,
you have nothing to lose. I mean,
no.
Except your buddies giving you a tough time once in a while.
No, but it's the sort of thing where you don't really need. I could have gone to art school, but cartooning doesn't necessarily require that. I'm sure it's helpful, but it was just one of those things that ended up working out. And then I would cartoon at work and after work. And
now, I assume that when you probably were doing some of these cartooning with your parents, and your parents probably felt when you became in high school, they said, why don't you be a cartoonist with us? It sort of justified, and they were able to accept it a little better, right?
You know what? My mom was always really good about it. In fact, I think it was in high school. There was a class at the local library, and it was taught by the local newspaper cartoonist, but it was a class for adults. It was like an adult education thing. But my mom knew I really liked cartooning, so she signed me up, and they said, you can't, he's in high school. It's an adult class. You can't. And so she lobbied them, and she got my art teacher to say no, he's mature. He's not going to be running around the class. And I was the only kid in a group of adults. And here's the local newspaper cartoonist, and it was a great class. So my mom was always super supportive.
What high school were you at that you were the cartoonist?
I was at North Scott High School in Eldridge, Iowa, little tiny school.
Oh, okay, that is a little town. So you mentioned Schultz. Are there any other cartoonists that you really sort of gravitated to that sort of give you some background that you admire?
I loved Schultz. Bill Watterson, who did Calvin and Hobbes.
Okay.
Peter Arno, one of the early cartoonists for The New Yorker. Gary Larson. Charles Adams. I love Charles Adams. And, anybody and everybody. I like everybody.
Well, that's good.
So.
Now, I hear you're a cartoonist, and that's your full-time job, right?
Mm-hmm.
You left that company in Elk Grove that you're able to write cartoons about now, too. but what's it like? I hear according to your biography, you're a stay-at-home dad. Now, is it tough getting the work done and having to take care of the kids and everything?
It's easier now. They're in school. But when the deal, I didn't like the job that I was in, which was a different job. But I didn't like it, and we had my son was on the way, and my wife is a teacher, and we always knew that one of us wanted to stay home.
Okay.
But we always sort of assumed it was my wife, and then I believe it was my mother-in-law who came. She's like, "Well, why doesn't Mark just stay home? Why don't you stay home?"
And at that point, you were doing the cartoon.
Yeah, I was already cartooning a couple of years, sort of, on the side. And then we were driving home, and I was like, what do you think of that? And my wife's like, I don't know. What do you think? I was like, maybe. And so it was sort of a way to, quit my job and do it full time,
and really
with the caveat that I was going to have a baby at home.
And you had to take care of the baby.
And I had to take care of the kids.
Now,
but it worked out really nicely.
Now, again, in your biography, it talks about you starting out before you had this office here. That's a nice palatial office.
Oh, yeah. Oh yes.
That's sort of an insight thing we won't talk about.
It's very inside. It's like 8 by 10.
You started working on a table, right? An end table or something.
I worked at a coffee table for almost a decade. And it was a tiny, I still have it upstairs.
Okay.
It's like a little 4-foot oval coffee table that when we bought it, I had to test it out in the store to see if I could sit underneath it and work. But I probably did my first 1,000 cartoons at the coffee table.
Oh, that's a lot of cartoons.
Yeah. But I would put the kids down for the nap. I'd, sit down and work for a couple of hours. And now, like I said, it's much easier with the kids in school. But yeah, it was a juggling act there for a lot of years.
For those that know me, they know that I sometimes lock up, even in these interviews, which don't go very long. It's got to be tough coming up with a new cartoon every day, and coming up with different ideas and all that. How do you keep those juices going?
That's the hard part. The drawing part I've gotten better at. The drawing, the more you do it, the better you get at it. But the writing part is one of those, you can't just sit around and wait for something funny to hit you. So over the years, I've gotten better at finding ways to generate ideas. I read a lot. I read the paper, I read books, I read blogs, anything I can get my hands on, because you never know where a word or a phrase or an idea or even a picture in a magazine is going to make you go, oh, there's something that I can make fun of. There's something I can play with. There's a goofy idea.
Maybe we should word that a little better, because some of the people you're making fun of probably don't want to be considered to be made fun of, right? Just see the humor in it, right?
Exactly.
You work with, we'll put up some of these logos, but I see you work with GE, Walgreens, Women's World, REI, Sports Authority. Now, do they give you ideas, or how do you work, interconnect with them to come up with, obviously that's a good source of income.
I do a lot of custom cartoon work. Well, a lot of my clients will buy cartoons that I've already done because they just like that cartoon. They see a cartoon about a sales meeting, and someone at a company goes like, I want to use that in my presentation. So then they'll just buy it. But some clients want me to do a custom cartoon for them, and they'll say, we need it to be about business, we need it to be about this, we need it to be about that. And it sort of runs the gamut. Some people will just give me, I just need a couple of business cartoons about this. But some people will get really in-depth and say, I need it to be about business and dogs, and they're in a sales meeting, and there's 4 of them, and there's also a cat, and in the background there's this, and then we need 3 jokes about that.
So now that becomes a challenge.
That's a challenge, but in some ways it's easier, because then at least I have some place to start.
All right, and
when someone says, I need 100 cartoons about pencils, it's one of those like, oh, woo,
that'll be a lot.
That's going to be a slog.
So I noticed that you like to use animals in a lot of the cartoons. You just like working with animals? Is it a good thing to work with, or what?
Animals are fun because they can stand, well, they bring a lot. People in a meeting are interesting, and they can say, but dogs in a meeting is a whole different thing, because they bring a whole different group of characteristics to it, where they're going to talk about cats, or they're going to talk about I did one cartoon where they were all, I think it was a bunch of dogs in a laboratory, and they were upset because they hadn't yet discovered dog nip.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah. That's a great one.
They were concerned that because cats had catnip, but there's no dog.
Right.
There's nothing the same for dogs.
And you got a great big formula sitting out there.
Oh, yeah.
How did you come up with that formula?
All those formulas are terrible. I just look online, and none of them. I have a friend in high school who works at the Jet Propulsion Lab now, or I think he still does. And I'm sure that they have I'm sure he looks at it and goes like, that's not even right. That's chemistry, and this is physics, and I'm sure none of them are right. But I just try to find something that looks scientific, that I don't think most people will understand. I go, yep, I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the great, another one of your really good cartoons. You have, it's at a marketing meeting or a sales meeting, and the line's going up and down, and give me the line at the end of it.
Oh, well, the line's going up and down and up and down, and the last one is going straight down.
Right.
But it's clear there's like a pattern. It's like an M or a W. And he's like, but I have a really good feeling about next month.
Yeah. And that'd be great.
It would be nice.
Yeah, it'd
if
be
it
nice.
worked like that.
Yeah, it would be.
Unless it just keeps going down.
So, is cartooning in some ways? I'm thinking in some ways it's somewhat similar to comedy, or are they really pretty distinct, or is there a sort of a where the two of them sort of come together but don't?
It's a different. It's like it's comedy, but I'm not on stage performing it, so I can't rely on inflection or body language or attitude or pace, or there's a lot of things that you can't rely on. You're creating this little scene, and you're like the director and the costumer and all of those things, and you create this little scene, and then you sort of put it out into the world and let it work by itself.
Yeah.
So it's the wording I'm very specific on because you only have that one chance to get it right.
Right.
And then it's done. But yeah, I grew up memorizing Bill Cosby albums, George Carlin. Oh, loved George Carlin growing up.
I noticed also out on your I don't think it's your blog, it's just your regular site, but you talk about, and this is, I'm sure you're marketing to get some customers out there, but the difference between a stock photograph in an ad and a cartoon in an ad, probably more business related than that, but you have had people tell you that they seem to get a lot more reaction from the cartoon because it gets them more involved. Is that right?
I think people have grown. I think they don't see stock photos anymore, and the idea of a photo or an illustration on a blog is to give some sort of visual interest.
Right.
Well, now that everyone had a blog and everyone has stock photos, and it's always the same guy leaning at a table looking at a laptop. And after a while, you've seen all 100, 200, 300 of those. They're all kind of the same.
Right.
So you don't really see it anymore, and it's not effective. But when you see a cartoon, and I think where it works best is where the cartoon reinforces the idea of the article. So if it's about marketing or sales, you have a cartoon about sales or something that's in line with that. And it's something people aren't used to seeing as much anymore, and I think it has a lot more emphasis. Plus, you get a little joke in there. You look at it, and you're like, "Oh, that's a great little laugh."
I personally, my background is a high school guidance director, counselor, and I always felt if you can bring humor into a situation, you change it to a different level.
Oh yeah.
And I think people are able to move on with that.
Oh yeah. Humor, I mean, if you can get a laugh out of someone, I mean, that's a great way to, they're going to feel good about that article or whatever it is in front of them. If you can share a laugh with somebody, that's a fantastic way to, come across.
Now, I know from talking to you ahead of time, you do some color, but most of it's in black and white. And you have found that it tends to be pretty effective, and you like the black and white?
I like black and white. I do color for clients if they request it. But for my own stuff, it's just sort of where it felt right to me. And the kind of cartooning I do, you need to put out a lot of cartoons all the time.
Right.
So it was fastest for me. My style lends itself to working very quickly, and black and white and grayscale, again, works very quickly because you don't have to worry about, like, well, how does this color work with this color? How does this color work with that color? Everything's gray.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about it so much. It's just dark or light.
Well, I really appreciate it that you give us the time to come over here this afternoon. I'd like to see if we can get you to maybe do some doodling or whatever you want to call it, and that we can roll into it. And I appreciate your time, and hopefully give us your website again.
The website is andertunes.com. It's A-N-D-E-R, like the first part of my last name, and tunes, like the last part of cartoons, andertunes.com.
Okay, and people can go on there and they can subscribe and get an email, right?
Yeah, there's a daily cartoon email that goes out, and people can use cartoons for their company newsletters or presentations, all sorts of things.
And then they can contact you if they want to do some custom work or do something custom, right? Or if they're going to use it all the time. I'm assuming these are copyrighted, and people should be careful about how they use them.
Right.
But they're all out there, and I think if you go out and look at the site, you'll be pretty fascinated with what Mark has done.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for coming over and sitting in my tiny little office.
Well, it's been fun. This is a neat little office. At this point, you did the drawing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you've gone and using your ink brush, you've put the blacks on it and so on, right?
Right, yep.
And it's pretty well finished. So now you take it and put it in the computer and you fine tune it over at the computer?
Yeah,
Is that right?
I'll scan this in, and then in Photoshop, this one was blissfully free of errors, but normally they'll have them marked up where I'll have a line that goes wrong, and I'll just draw an arrow and I'll go fix, or, you know, over this way, and I'll draw some little glasses. And then I'll bring it in Photoshop and do any little tweaks that I need to do, and then I'll shade it in Photoshop, because that's quicker.
Now, what on here are you going to be shading?
I'll show you. I'll shade. I probably still have some markers around. I don't think I do anymore. What I'll do is I'll shade her hair.
Okay.
I'll do like a 10% gray shade on there. I'll shade her hair light. And I'll shade her hair a little darker. I'll do the backs of the chairs to sort of make them pop against it. I'll do the back of the chairs dark so they sort of pop out. And I'll make his pants and his tie probably the darkest of all of the different shades of gray.
Okay.
So that...
and you use
so
different brushes in Photoshop to pull that out and to put it in. And
yep.
But you stay in the black and white tones, even in the computer, right?
Yeah, even in the computer, I stay grayscale. Unless I have a client that requests color. I stay pretty much grayscale for my day-to-day work.